Wanted to start off the day with some laps. So, I usually have been starting off my videos and my days by going directly to the punching bag. However, today I kind of wanted to switch it up. It's very easy to plateau in the gym, where your body pretty much acclimatizes like it would to the weather, to the workouts that you're doing. So, like I said before, I like my exercises to transition to real world activities. And so I do a large variety of things. So I decided that today I was going to start off by swimming. The water is kind of cold. As you can see, I'm hesitating to get in. I'm just stretching. I'm just kind of psyching myself out a little bit, but trying to overcome that. And eventually here in the next few seconds, I'm just going to jump in. All right, there we go. Now I'm in. And I forgot my swimmer's cap, and I'm just realizing that at this moment, and I'm like, dang it, I brought that to the gym, but I left it in my locker. So I just kind of said, screw it. I'll just swim without it. So, about to get started. Here we go. Just going to start off with a breaststroke. Don't have goggles or anything like that. So it's kind of probably out of form if you are a professional swimmer. Go ahead and critique me if you want. I don't really give a shit. I'm just swimming. And it's like correcting somebody on their handwriting. If you can read that shit, it's good handwriting. All right. So, just starting off with the breaststroke. There and back. Getting back now, and I'm realizing, damn, swimming is tough. And it's kind of weird. The people that I see in the pool often don't have, a body that I would consider to be super athletic. Yet they're, sitting there, swimming back and forth like it's their business, But that's probably because that's all they do is just swim. And, man, this is, my first time being out of the house right here. And so it's really hitting me. It's the water's kind of cold. It's cold outside, so it's I usually try and start off with something warm, maybe warm up in the hot tub, or the sauna or whatever, and then go hit the bag. But starting off your day kind of cold, puts you in a different mood and psyche, and it has a different effect on your body as well. So like I said the other day, I wanted to focus more on my abs. So as you can see here, I'm just doing laps in the pool and then transitioning between each lap into ab work, and I'm just doing leg lifts, just the simple easy thing right on the edge. Got some water in my ear, got to shake that out. And now I'm just gonna go into I'm gonna call this the backwards frog. There probably is a technical term for this, but yeah, we ain't using jargon here. We're making up our own jargon as we go along. And the technical term for this is now declared as the backwards frog stroke. So we're gonna backwards frog all the way down, and saw the little flags above me, and now I'm starting to kind of do a backstroke so that I can have my hand crash into the wall before my head does, just as kind of like a warning sign so that I don't freaking get a concussion. Now we're just gonna do that on the way back, just some more backwards frog style, but I'm really kind of feeling like I'm plateauing a little bit. It's I'm working out hard, and it's I'm working out harder than everybody else that I kind of see at the gym, but for some reason I just can't get to where it is that I want to be at. And I think it's mainly due to some plateaus that I have been reaching, and so I got to switch it up. And that's why I decided to come into the pool today and just totally switch up my routine and kind of shock my system a little bit, wake myself up, wake my body up, make myself do some things that I'm not used to. And I feel the older I get, the more I'm going to be spending time in the pool, because it's really great for that range of motion, but then also, it provides you with a resistance almost similar to using your body weight and a plyometric type exercise, but the resistance that it provides is a fluid resistance. Go figure, because it's water. So yeah, it's going to give you a fluid resistance, but it's like a continuous fluid, seamless resistance is how I would describe it. Almost similar to bands, but even more fluid and less, jagged than bands even. It's more fluid than that. So, it's really easy on your joints, and that's why there's always a lot of old people in the pools exercising. So I'm gonna go and just do like a butterfly type thing right now. Get all the way down and back. This was actually pretty fun, meaning that it was pretty kind of difficult. Like I got down there and I was like, shit, I gotta do something else on the way back. And I'm getting to that wall and I'm like, can I be at the wall already? And I'm like, oh yes, finally I made it all the way without switching up my stroke. I did it, I accomplished it, So then all of a sudden, somehow I transport. That was a pretty cool shot. I don't know what happened right there. I think I clicked stop or something like that and it deleted some of the video or something like that, but this is just me carrying up my camera. I didn't know that I was recording right now. But I'm recording. So yeah, we're just gonna leave this shot in the footage here because I thought it was kind of a cool shot after I realized that I did this. Kind of like showcasing a little bit of the layout of the facility I'm using. Down there's the aquatic center. That's why I like this room so much, is because it's always humid and it's more hot than a lot of the other rooms. That's why I come up here and punch this bag. Makes me, kind of takes me away from the winter environment that I'm in right now up here in Logan. And Utah's a pretty strenuous environment full of extremes. I mean, last winter we recorded, some snowfall and record low temperatures that beat Alaska. And Alaska's known for being the last frontier or whatever, you know what I mean? But when your state is beating out Alaska in regards to snowfall and temperature being cold, then that you're in a pretty extreme environment. And so that's Utah for you. A lot of people come here for the skiing season and stuff like that. I was huge into that growing up, but it's so expensive when you become an adult because being in the educational system, you always get all these rebates and discounts. And so I always used to go to the canyons, and I would just turn in my report card and I'd get a $90 season pass at the canyons, and I just roll up there either in a bus that would transport people at certain times from my area and Layton to the canyons, or I would just carpool with a bunch of friends and we'd just go up there and just take the whole day up on the mountain. But now that I'm older, it's a couple grand sometimes to get a decent pass, a season pass to some of these resorts. And so I just can't take advantage of it anymore. So it's I got to fill my winter time with something else. I can't be so much of a snowboard bum anymore. So I guess I'm just going to be a gym rat, and just kind of find my meditation here. Just hitting the bag again, just kind of like you saw, just walked right up here and gonna try and dry off. But got done with the bag, and now I'm gonna transition into some sprints. I like sprinting with my shoes off. It's such a different feeling. I almost feel like I'm gonna sprain my ankle or something like that, you know what I mean? It's you gotta be really careful on the balls of your feet, on your toes, because it probably is easier to sprain your ankles jogging like this with bare feet, so I'm really being cautious about that. I don't want that to happen. I sprained my ankle in Japan a couple years ago, and that blew hardcore. Getting injured is the worst because you just don't know what to do anymore. It's man, I used to be active, but now I can't be. So went back and sat in the sauna, the dry sauna, for a minute. Didn't really film that part because there's a bunch of old naked dudes in there, and I didn't want to have that in my video. I'll filter out some of my life experiences for my viewers. Oh, swish. Yeah, you know it. I was on fire right here. I just kind of walked up in and just started shooting the ball, and everything was going in. It felt great. Bam. Money in the bank. Tell me what you think, So Yeah, I went into the sauna, had a friend call me who invited me to lunch, but I was just kind of like in the zone here a little bit. I just wanted to come and meditate and just, focus on dribbling the ball a little bit. Three-pointer, just kind of get my mind off of everything else. So that's what I did. I ended up kind of skipping on a lunch and came and did this. Now I'm just gonna do some bands. You can see that I'm that's not sweat, that's just water from the pool. I literally just kind of put a shirt on and my shoes and socks on and my headband to keep my hair out of my eyes, and just kind of went into the other portions of this facility. And so my swimsuit was still pretty wet at this moment, but I was here long enough today that literally the only thing that's like still wet is just a few parts of like my underwear. Other than that, I'm pretty dry sitting here doing this voiceover right now in my car. Just had to find an isolated place that was quiet enough for me to record some audio, some good audio over this footage. But yeah, just kind of still just warming up my body a little bit, Gonna start doing some more strenuous type things here in the next moment or two. So just doing some chest band workouts. I just kind of walk around the gym and just like see what's out. Like literally I was like walking upstairs to the CrossFit area, and I just saw this band just like set up perfectly for me to do this little band workout right here. So I just like, screw it, I'll just do this. So I did. But that's kind of how I like plan my exercise. That's how I like plan my days too. It's like I kind of have a goal in mind, but at the same point in time, I just kind of play along with like what's there during the day type thing. I'm not the guy that like looks up what the weather forecast is or whatever. I just go outside and I'm just like, all right, it's like this, I'll do this type guy, So walk up here, got in the CrossFit area. They're holding a class right now, but they're pretty kind and kind of just let me come up here and film and do my own thing. Just doing some pistol squats right now, one-legged balancing squats. Got to thank and do a shout out to Pharaoh Gales right now. There was one point in time he didn't think I could do these. And I was at the gym with him. This was at Gold's in Cedar City. And he was like, yo, bro, but you can't do this. And he was sitting there holding like 50s and squatting down on these, doing pistol squats. And I was like, all right, man, I'll try it out. So I went and did that. Surprised him a little bit because I did it. But now there's some of my favorite things. It's just like, strengthening that ankle strength, that balance right there. But then at the same time, core and also legs. So I like pistol squats, but they are tough on your knees if I gotta say anything negative about them. Now we're gonna hit the heavy bag. I haven't really done this a lot in my previous videos. This one kind of messes up your knuckles if you don't use like tape or gloves, but I've hit it enough that my wrists don't really break when I punch anymore. I can pretty much keep them stable and sturdy, so I can get some solid hits on the bag. And also my knuckles are pretty calloused over, just kind of doing this for pretty much this whole semester while everyone's been going to school. This is what I've been doing. This has been my school right here. So I guess that's what I got to show for it, is callous knuckles, that I can sit and punch things and they don't bleed anymore. They did at first. I had scabs all over my knuckles when I first started hitting this bag. But now they don't. That's cool, I guess. Got to take what you can take, and I'm going to take the callus. Doing some spinning kicks. I think those are more for show than anything. I don't really think that they harness that much power in them, I don't know, maybe I'm doing them wrong, but that's just my opinion. And this guy right here is doing a class, that guy with the man bun over there. Asked him if I could film and do some box jumps, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like, you can set up over there, we're just using this space right here. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. So yeah, just gonna do some like jumping exercises. I'm still working on getting to the point where I can dunk. Like, oh man, it's so frustrating. I can get up there, and I think I could like do like a cheater's dunk, where it's like I hold the ball in like my left arm, and jump up and grab onto the rim with my right hand, and then I could just like literally dunk it with my left hand up into the hoop. I'm pretty certain that I could do that with enough tries, but that's kind of like a cheater's dunk or whatever. So this is just me kind of working on like my jumping, trying to get my vert up. And I heard that, you know, sometimes doing like a reverse type exercise is good for like getting the muscles that you wouldn't normally get. So right here I'm just walking up and jumping off and then kind of exploding from a squat into another jump. Some advice that I got from one of the trainers here. So that's what I'm working on. Trying to get that vert up. Just, you know, doing some inverse mechanics here. You know, like doing inverse dumbbell curls or whatever, where you're holding the bar in a different grip and you're actually going down slowly rather than working on going up like hard or whatever, you know. Just doing some plyometrics right now. Nothing too intense. Like each of these workouts, there's a pretty like decent amount of space in between for me to get breath, but I work each of them hard enough to the point of where I'm getting like a minor sweat, you know, and also like my heart rate's definitely increasing. So there's that. It's usually just me and a bunch of like either old guys at the gym or like mothers who just drop their kids off at daycare, or like wives that don't have a job and their husband is just, you know, the one that brings home the bacon, and so they just spend all day here at the gym. It gets kind of awkward sometimes. Every once in a while they flirt with me and I'm just like, I don't know how to act. I'm just like, I'm not really too much into cougars, you know what I mean? Especially ones that have rings on. And so I just kind of like, I don't know, I just like play along with it so I'm not like super awkward, but at the same point in time, it is like just weird. I'm more into a fox than I am a cougar, you know what I mean? A cougar is more like rough, but I'll go for a fox any day. So yeah, just doing some like, I don't know, this is more of like if I'm trying to run from the cops exercise, where it's like I gotta jump over some high fences or something like that. I better be ready for that moment, you know, so, because I know they ain't jumping no fences. I've seen cops, they can't keep up. Yeah, and I'm just kind of like wondering what to do. And like I said before, I kind of just walk around, you know, and like stumble upon things and just do them. So that's what's gonna happen right here. All of a sudden I just ended up in a cycling class. So that's where I'm at right now. This is a spinning class. And you know, I kind of followed beauty into here. And before you criticize, you know what I mean? Like if you're in like an art gallery, you go and you congregate at the paintings which are pleasant for your vision. You know what I mean? So if you're gonna harass me for like following tail into this class, that's just part of life, you know? And why wouldn't I want to be somebody who surrounds myself with things that I myself find attractive? Anyways, the chick that I followed in here ended up leaving like halfway through it. I guess it was too intense for her or something like that. But then I was just like getting such a great workout that I just stuck through this whole thing, this whole class. And this is the first time I've ever done a spin class, but I think I'm gonna actually start doing spin class on the regular because it was actually really good. Like what I said before at the beginning of this video, in regards to me plateauing, I'm having a hard time finding things that are strenuous for me. Well, not necessarily strenuous, but literally finding ways to help my body reach the next level. You know, I'm still trying to get to that like Statue of Mars level where it's like I can walk around in, you know, a leaf and have people ogle over me, and have people build effigies in my name and in my personage, right? But I'm still a little bit of ways from that, you know? And so I'm trying to find ways in which will literally push me towards that goal. But like I said, I'm kind of like plateauing at the moment. And so it never hurts also, like I'm pretty self-trained here. Like, I'm not going to like classes and stuff like that on a regular, or I don't have a personal trainer or anything like that. I'm just kind of doing this all on my own, and that's pretty much how I've been ever since I've been going to the gym. Occasionally I stumble into classes like this, and then I get in there and I realize like, oh man, I really want to be doing this. But then at the same point in time, it's such a sacrifice to have to literally, you know, align your clock with someone else's. And that's why I like just being self-trained. You know, it's almost kind of like being self-employed. I can just go and do this all on my own time and at my own leisure, and I'm not having to pay like $60 an hour like lawyer fees, you know, to these people that aren't even as good as, you know, in as good a shape as I'm in, type thing. But it's just like that little extra bit of motivation that they provide, which helps you ascend to the next level. So every once in a while, like I said, I do find myself in a class, and so that's what I found myself in today, spinning class. And if I had to describe this class, I would describe it as like very energetic. It had a pulse, it had a heartbeat, you know? Like, there's this music bumping, and I'm still contemplating at this moment while I'm recording this whether or not I'm going to turn down the volume. Obviously, I'm probably going to have to turn down the audio for this clip a little bit, because if I don't, then you might not even be able to hear my voiceover. But this class had a beat. It was almost like being at like a rave or something like that, but you know, it's like an acceptable rave by society, because there's like all this techno remixes of like rock and roll oldie classic songs or whatever going on, and it just really like has a beat and rhythm to it, and that's what you pedal to. And then also, you know, the teacher up front pushes you a little bit and says, oh, we're gonna climb a hill right now, so put up your knob and stand up and sprint or whatever, you know, slow down, take a breather, now sprint, slow down, take a breather, now sprint. And right here I'm trying to adjust my freaking pedals. I couldn't figure it out, like the strap on them, so that I'm also going forward when I pull up my feet, you know, so that there's resistance both as a downward force when I'm pushing down the pedal with my weight, and an upward force propelling me as I'm pulling up with my legs as well. But I couldn't quite figure out the straps, and later you're going to find out that the lady, the teacher of the class, she came and talked to me for a minute during the class, and she was like, oh, how you doing? And I was like, good, all except for I can't figure out the straps on my pedals to, you know, strapping my feet tight. And she was like, oh, that's just the equipment, like some of these work really well and some of them don't, and I guess you just got, you know, like some of the pedals and straps that don't work as well as the other ones. And this is going to be a long section right here. This is going to really test me, and it actually tested me quite a bit during the class. But what I'm talking about testing me right now, testing my ability to literally just talk nonsense for like 30 minutes. And it's going to test your ability to be able to watch nonsense for 30 minutes, or I think an hour. I think in totality this video is going to be around an hour, probably like the longest vlog video I've ever done, you know. But I think I can do it. I think I can talk continuously, fluidly, and in a relatable manner throughout the entirety. So you're seeing myself challenge myself physically in the video right now, and now again I'm challenging myself with this voiceover. The chick that I kind of followed in, she's like diagonal, you know, upward to the left. There's a guy you can see that's like in front of me right now, and I purposely went and sat in the back so that I could kind of like get some footage of this going on. This is actually a Utah State University course, like spinning class. And I just kind of like walked in and I went and spoke to the teacher, and I was like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, we're doing spinning. And I was like, can I join in? And she's like, oh yeah, anyone can join in. And so she's like, oh, you just go find a bike and just go and join in. So that's what I did. But everyone else in here is like a part of Utah State University's, you know, alumni at the moment, and they're taking like spinning 1010 or whatever you want to call it. But I kind of felt like a little bit prideful in here, and I usually feel that way whenever I go into classes, because, you know, I'm not like, I don't have a personal trainer, I'm not going to these classes on the regular, but whenever I go into them, I'm usually like outperforming most of the other people in the classes. And it's like, that shouldn't be like that, because these kids, the semester is almost over, and so they've been going to this like all semester long, you know what I mean? But then Joe Schmo, me, comes in here and just literally like kills everything, and the teacher's giving me attention and everything like that, and it's like, I'm not even a student. I'm just like some dude that just like, you know, some bum that all of a sudden just came into your house, but then all of a sudden it's like eloquently has mannerisms that are, you know, in a vocabulary that are beyond your own, and you're just like, what the hell? But at the same point in time, I like being that guy, you know, just kind of like surprising, like a box full of surprises that, based upon what people's initial experience with me is, all of a sudden, like, it's just like a present within a present within a present within a present, and it just like keeps opening up, and it doesn't end, you know. I like being that guy. And in relation to that, I just got like a 3-star perfect rating on my Uber rider status, and I'm actually kind of really proud of that. It means that, you know, within the initial experience of anybody coming in contact with me, I'm a relatable person, I can communicate well, and also I'm very good at judging what to talk about in relation to where I'm at and who's with me. Because I remember those Uber rides, and, you know, the first dude was a black guy, and the second person was an Arab, and the third person was a Hispanic woman, you know? And so being able to like receive high scores from all those people, it actually, you know, tells me that, you know, not only am I somebody that respects kind of like everybody and gives off a good first impression, but I'm able to kind of look past and see the good, like, you know, being able to connect with the good parts of whoever it is that I'm talking to. And I know a lot of my videos seem quite racy and stuff like that, but, you know, you're not going to judge everybody's ability on speech by looking at their ability to speak as like a newborn child. You know what I mean? Judge me for what I am at this moment and what's coming across to you when we actually come in contact. Not some like reactional video in which I only gained enough energy to literally upload onto YouTube due to the amount of ferocity of the environment that I found myself in. And I'm a very influential person. I'm kind of very moldable, and it's like the environment that I find myself in really has like a huge impact on, you know, my personality, kind of like the weather. And so being in a certain type of environment is definitely going to influence my reactions to it, my viewpoints, and especially when I'm uploading every day, you never know what's going to come out, you know what I mean? But yeah, judge a child or judge each person to ever live based upon their ability and what they were doing is like a newborn baby, and they're all going to look like an idiot, you know what I mean? So judge me when you meet me and you speak to me rather than what it is that, you know, is in the photo album. And another good point to make in regards to that is like, look at a good painting long enough, and if you've literally sat there and looked at this painting for an extremely long time, eventually you're going to find flaws in it. You know, it's like having a good meal every night. It's a good meal, but eventually you're going to get sick of it. You know, so I think in a lot of ways, people that are publicized all over the media, it's kind of like that, where people are seeing so much of them all the time that you can't help but hate it, because you're literally able to find all the flaws in it because it's all that you're ever looking at, you know. So getting back to spinning class here, I'm still kind of figuring it out, I think. But like I said before, you know, I was kind of having like a hard time being able to reach the next level in regards to my physique. And I think that spinning is going to be that transitional pathway that I was looking for. I was really getting up a sweat in this class. You know, if you were watching before, then my t-shirt was pretty wet from the water from the pool that I just got out of. But at the end of this class, my t-shirt was still pretty wet from the pool water and my swimsuit. But along with that, there was a decent amount of sweat that had accumulated, on the other portions of it above the swimsuit line. So I know, and I definitely felt during the class and after that it was something that's going to allow me to burn off and build up what I want. And so I'm definitely gonna have to probably be a little bit less freestyle in my life at the moment, and match my clocks with everyone else's, so that I can kind of be on the same speed, the same page as everybody else, so that we can have a relatable conversation and I'm not just off wandering through space kind of doing what I want. And so I'm thinking I'm going to incorporate spinning class into my habits here in the next little bit. Another interesting thing, if any of this is interesting, if it's not interesting to you, then this is just another boring thing. So another boring thing, possibly. Last night, all my roommates ended up going to the Utah State University basketball game here. And oh look, she's now she's here talking. She's like, oh hey, I think you need to put up your seat more. I'm used to riding a BMX bike, so I had my seat pretty much down low. Now she's trying to figure out my shoe straps, and then she just ends up coming to the conclusion that they're pretty much broken. So she's like, oh whatever. But in regards to the basketball game last night, some of my roommates ended up getting in trouble because they were sitting on right next to the opposing team's bench, and they were yelling out a lot of stuff to the team, stuff you'd yell at like a pitcher, like we want a pitcher, not a belly itcher, stuff like that, whatever. And anyways, one of the other spectators at the game, who I guess is a Logan resident, went and found a police officer and went and complained to the police officer, and had the police officer go and talk to them about their behavior, and said that it was socially unacceptable and a black mark upon the reputation of the city and the school. And it reminded me of another experience in my life after they told me that. Growing up in elementary school, we used to play dodgeball for PE every once in a while, and what ended up happening was dodgeball ended up getting banned from my elementary school. And this was because I know who it is, but I'm going to refrain from speaking her name. There was a woman who was not very physically fit at the time, a girl. I'm not going to say a little girl. She was a big girl. But she was pretty much incapable of dodging the ball. You know what I mean? The game's dodgeball, right? So if you're incapable of doing that, you're going to get hit all the time, every time. And it's probably going to be a little bit humiliating. And if you ask the teacher for permission to stand out of each, game, then that's also humiliating. So what ended up happening was, I guess she had an emotional breakdown, spoke to her mother about it. Her mother went and talked to the school board, and they ended up banning dodgeball for everybody, just because this one girl, hated it and couldn't handle it physically or whatever. And so it ended up being taken away, from everybody. And that sucked. And I'm just kind of telling stories right now. And this is just something that happened recently. Not the dodgeball thing, but the thing up at Utah State with my roommates. And I ended up telling them my dodgeball story after they told me that. And I just said, you know what, some people are just that way, you know what I mean? They're just prissy. They're like a cat. For some reason, I think all cats are like that. They're just that way, you know what I mean? Dogs are more chill, laid back, whatever, but it's just a fat cat. Maybe that's where that term comes from, fat cat. And in regards to stories, you guys want to hear a story? I'm thinking about publishing my own children's book. I'm going to call it The Adventures of Brock Lee. And Brock Lee is spelled out like broccoli. And he's a kid from the land of Swahili, and he finds a book called The Legend of the Platinum Chalice. And he ends up having to go on this journey where he runs away from home in search of the Platinum Chalice, right? And he comes across like a sorcerer, and he has to answer riddles in front of a sphinx, and it's like this really adventurous book. And I remember, coming up with it. I remember the moment that I came up with this novel. It was in Disneyland in California. I went there with my extended family, and we're sitting in line, and I was like, hey, can we like figure out a way to make this go by faster? You know what I mean? It's pretty much like a mundane thing. Like, you're just sitting there looking around the park, take a few steps, sit there, nothing's going on. So I said, all right, you guys want to play a game? And so we all like went in a circle, kind of like in the line. We like stood in a circle, and I said, each person says a word, and we're going to tell a story. They were like, all, okay, yeah, we'll play that game. Well, anyways, every story that we ended up saying ended up being like this sadistic story. And it wasn't on my behalf. I was always trying to save the story, you know what I mean? But they would always just take it. It was like there was a cat. He was walking down the road, slipped on a banana, and fell on a knife that stabbed through his head. And these were like 5-year-old kids. And it made me realize that nobody's like more judgmental and like sadistic to a certain degree than like little children. Everyone paints little children to be like these perfect angels, but remember back to like elementary school, like literally how inclusive you had to be, or how exclusive you were towards like a group that you hung out with, and like how much you made fun of everybody and like all this other stuff, you know what I mean? Like, and I don't think that it's like an independent experience. Like, even the kids that got made fun of probably like went home and drew pictures about how much they hated everybody, like whatever. Like, I think little kids, they're not so much angels, you know what I mean? People call them little cupids, but they ain't. And so they were like, oh yeah, we can't tell a good story, whatever. I was like, all right, I'll take over, I'll tell a good story. So anyways, just kind of was sitting there like in line, and ended up coming up with this story in Disneyland in California. Nice vacation. And then it kind of was like it kind of backfired on me though, because like every day after that, like all day long, they just kept pestering me. Hey, can you tell us the legend of Brock Lee? Can you tell us the legend of Brock Lee? Can you tell us the legend of Brock Lee? And it was like that literally every day, all day. So I kind of got sick of it. But I think during my lifetime, I hope to make it into a children's book. It's just like the fact of getting something published is like an arduous process, you know what I mean? It's like, first you gotta write down the whole thing, and it's like, to have something substantial, like you gotta write a lot of shit. And then you got to get the whole thing like reviewed, and then you got to pay and find a publisher that's willing to publish your work, and then you got to get all this stuff like printed out, and then if you want it to be recognized, you then got to pay for it to be reviewed by other companies so they can recognize it. And that's what's really going to put you, in the place to have like a work which is worth people reading or whatever. So that's on the horizon, it's in the foreseeable future, along with me designing an app or whatever. Definitely like in the back of my mind, kind of like wondering if I should get started on that right now, you know what I mean? But before I do that, I want to put together like a book of like either short stories / poetry. When I was in Long Beach, anybody who's kept up with my stuff, I ended up going to a poetry night there. And while I was at poetry night, I met a girl who had literally just, like accumulated all of the poetry that she's written over her life. And I got a cough. So much for this being a fluid and like eloquent voiceover. Got a cough in the background. Still kind of like getting over this sickness. I'll speak about that in a little bit, but let me get back to the story about the poetry girl. She like inspired me a little bit. Just, this girl about my age put together like a book and was selling it to like everybody. And so I'm thinking to myself, like, you know, I want to put together a book like that. I want to put together a book of like short stories and like of my poems and creative writing, like some dystopic writings I have, like some surrealist like writings I have, like, and just put together a book like that and see if I can't get it published, you know what I mean? And yeah, that's pretty much the story about that poetry and me wanting to get all my stuff put together. But then I gotta like go through all my journals, go through all my posts on social media, and literally rewrite Jesus fucking Christ, I gotta rewrite everything out again and like put it all together in a format for somebody to be able to review and then publish it, kind of like I'd have to do for my children's book. But this damn sickness, like I was gonna say, you know, if you've been watching my streams, like there was one stream, actually like 2 streams, where I was streaming Assassin's Creed Origins, and I had like tampons up my nose because I was running so much and shit, and I was like, every like 5 seconds I was like blowing my nose or like turning in, coughing into my sleeve and like spitting in this trash can next to me and like snorting up the most vile and disgusting, like whatever you want to imagine, you know what I mean? But I'm still like getting over it. It's like so frustrating when I'm trying to read my shit and record myself, because as I'm doing so, it's like there's always like this tickle or something like that where it will literally interrupt my thought process and make me mispronounce words because I'm trying to hold back a cough or something else. And so it makes the words come out just whack as fuck. And I actually recorded like a fail compilation of me mispronouncing stuff like a couple videos ago. I think it was called Not So Mystical Growth. Originally it was just supposed to be called Mystical Growth because I was talking about, you know, like growing spiritually yourself, but then seeing like mystical growth. And I related that to like things that are just like fucking weird as hell, but they still grow, like a crystal and shit like that. It's like, the fuck is this shit, you know what I mean? It's like literally just a crystallized, like pure like thing, like a crystal structure, and it's like mystical growth, you know what I mean? Like that shit grows and happens like naturally in the world. So I was like making a writing comparing those two things, and I did it in like a short story, like first person story type of setting. But it was so hard to do that because like every like 2 minutes, and reading this story like from start to finish took like 13 minutes. That's how long the story was. I wrote it while I was in the hot tub, FYI. My legs felt like jelly after I did that. But yeah, so I was like trying to write this, and like I was trying to record it, and it was just so many fails, and it was like I wanted to just to get a single straight through perfect reading of the entire thing without any mispronunciations, without me saying things all fucking whack, without me having to cough, without me, you know, just having like a blatant whoops on the camera moment. But that didn't happen, and I was just kind of got sick of it, so I just did like a voiceover. I just muted certain sections. I found my best recordings and I muted certain sections, and I just did like a voiceover of those parts. And then at the end of the video I did a fail compilation where I left in like the shit that was like coming out of my mouth, and some of it is just like whack. Like I say ring like super weird one time because it was like there was like a buildup of stuff in my throat, and I was like sitting there trying to like hold it all back, you know, and it just like did like a weird reaction all of a sudden upon the word ring, and it sounds like just like the weirdest thing ever. Kind of embarrassing, but that's life. And so I document that shit as value that way, you know what I mean? Like capturing the failure to capture still has quality in it, you know? And where are we at in this cycling class? Looks like we're hill climbing right now. This might be like my last hill climb. And damn, what is this person honking their horn about? I don't know if you can hear that, but there's like a honk fest going on. I'm just sitting in the parking lot of this sports academy right now. Alright, hopefully they've toned it down, taken it down a couple notches. That was like a honk of like either like somebody was like super pissed off at somebody, or they were just being a jackass to their friends. Like That's what I would deduce the situation as. But yeah, in the cycling class right now, it looks like I'm hill climbing, just climbing up some shit. The class itself consisted of like hill climbs, and then like sitting down, like pedaling, trying to keep the pace, but relaxed, and then sprints. And it was like alternating between all that. And you had this little knob on the bike. It was like right in between your crotch. You could probably see it if you like look in between my legs, between the rotations. You can see it appear like right there, right there, right there, right there, right there, right. That little knob. And you'll probably see me adjust it every once in a while, because that's like you adjust that to simulate like climbing up a hill or changing your gears like on an actual bike. So the class pretty much consisted of adjusting that to like the simulated situation that we were coming across, you know. And the simulated situations were sprints, like relaxed downhill sections, or hill climbs. And at the very end, we ended up doing like a sprint to the finish, you know what I mean? And she was like yelling out shit like, oh, you better pick it up, like they're gaining on you, you don't want them to pass you, like you want to take first, like this is the race, you know what I mean? Like we're in a race type setting. And she was like taking it for real, but I guess she gets paid to do this shit, you know what I mean? So she better like take her acting to the next level, right? Alright, I'm doing pretty good with this voiceover right now. I had like a little interruption in the middle there with me not having any water or anything like that, but yeah, I'm killing this class. Oh, alright, I remember exactly where we're at right now, because I just sat down right there. I thought she said sit down and take it easy, but then I was like, oh wait, she didn't, because everybody else is still up. We're getting near the end right here. Got like, I don't know, maybe not even 10 minutes left. Well, no, we're getting to the end once I start doing my sprints. And you'll see me start sprinting, because it's like, I'm so dead already. Like, this is just me, like, you know what I mean? Where you're just like lifting up your leg and putting it, and it's like falling in front of you, and then you're just like locking it in place. Like, imagine yourself walking and being that tired to the point where you're just like lifting up your leg and like putting it in front of you, and then like locking it in place. Like I just said, I just repeated myself, like I didn't say anything previous, but I already said that. As if saying something twice allows you to somehow see what you couldn't see the first time. That's what I just did there. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm doing. Another odd thing about today, kind of going off the rails here a little bit, but you know, somewhat related to what's going on because it happened during this day. It's like doing this YouTube stuff and this vlog stuff, it's like I gotta be pretty careful, you know what I mean? Like going around and filming and everything like that. Like you never know what's really gonna like get up someone's arse. And sometimes like you put yourself in an environment and you start filming like, and that's somewhere completely appropriate, you know? And then all of a sudden, like something inappropriate that just would like put you on the spot comes into play. Like when I was at the swimming pool and I just started filming, there was this big, huge class of like little girls. Like, I don't know, they were like 4 or 5, you know, and they have a daycare here. And so I'm guessing it was like all the parents that brought their kids and like they go and like have them do activities like in the pool or whatever. And it was probably like their pool day or something. But I'm just like, well, it's like being like an older male, especially at my age. It's like everybody's just on that, you know what I mean? Like my Facebook is just blasted like every day about people, just about like sexual offense and all this type of stuff. And like, you know what I mean? Like I'm going in these locker rooms with these old guys that it seems like they're flirting with me, and I'm just like, what the fuck is wrong with everybody? You know what I mean? And so I'm just sitting there filming, and then all of a sudden this little class of like schoolgirls come by, and I'm just like, well, this has kind of just made this all weird now. Not that it wasn't weird in the first place. I'm filming myself swimming in a swimming pool. It's fucking stupid anyways. But whatever. Something to do. And in many ways, like filming myself actually makes me motivate myself more, because it's like if people are going to be watching this, you know, not that there aren't people like physically witnessing what I'm doing like at the facility, but people that are coming to my channel and like They're literally coming there to watch me do shit, you know? So it's like when I'm on camera and when I know that I'm putting myself on camera, it definitely like pushes me that much more to like really just push myself. And that's one reason why I do it, you know? There's like, if I'm gonna be totally honest, yeah, there's a part where it's like, I wanna be famous, like, I wanna be able to make money off this, like, I want to make a living off of this, like, I wanna be able to show off. Who knows, maybe I'll find love, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, sure, that's like a small part of it, but at the same point in time, it motivates me to like get things done throughout the day because I have something to show and I have something to show people, and I know people are looking at me. And so it puts me on the spotlight, and when you're on the spotlight, you can either freeze up or you can act. And in this case, I'm choosing to act rather than freeze up. And we're getting to the end here. This is a cool down. You can see people are starting to leave. And that chick that I followed in here had already left like 10 minutes ago. But I stuck it out, folks, which tells you that I wasn't just in it for the pussy. I'm in it for me, the long haul. Yeah, now I'm just going to show off a little bit here. Oh, yeah, look at me. One-handed, spin the ball balance, shot, baby. Yeah, that's what I do all day, every day. That's why I'm so good at it. But got that one shot in, and now I'm just gonna do some writing. That's the writing that I did yesterday about corn dogs at kickoff. And so you're gonna see the process that I kind of go through. Like, this is my day here. Like, this is a pretty long vlog, and there's not a lot that's cut out. Maybe me walking between places to get these shots, but really, you know, this is like you're watching it here, like right now. Like, this is what's going on. Got a little writer's block, so watching some TV, doing a little bit of manicuring. As you noticed, I was like picking a little fuzzball off my elbow right there. I was planning on cutting all this out, but fuck it. I'm gonna sit there and really capture the moment. And it's kind of weird to like watch myself, and maybe it's weird that I'm like kind of enjoying watching myself, but you're gonna really see like my mannerisms during this moment, because I was planning on cutting this out. And so if that's the case, I'm acting as if I wasn't on camera. So we're gonna see a little bit of like my habits that go on when I'm not necessarily aware that I'm on camera. And this might be good for myself as well. Who knows if it has any entertainment value? Maybe it has value to science, psychology, biology, biochemistry even. I don't fucking know. I'm just sitting here talking. So, yeah, there's a sports show that's going on right now. It's like the one with the Mexican dude that makes all those weird comments. He's from like Miami and stuff like that. Like, the two other people in the show, like the chick and the dude, are like talking serious, you know what I mean? And then like every like couple minutes, the guy just like thinks of like a funny comment and just like says it, and everyone just stops and like laughs for a moment. It's like he's like the comedic relief, you know what I mean? So yeah, just watching that, running my fingers through my facial hair, which I'm not sure if it helps it actually grow or if I lose more hair that way, you know what I mean? It's like people say a stressful situation is like pulling your hairs out, you know what I mean? But yeah, now I'm gonna get down to the nitty gritty and start writing. I'm thinking of a title, and it's like I think of the title first usually, and then based upon the title, I have the title actually lead into the writing. So I titled this "Oh, the Humanity." And so I'm gonna have it be on that phrase, and that phrase is like, oh, the humanity, like a plea for help, you know, an outcry for somebody who's acting inhumane. Like all the moral and ethical values they've thrown out the wayside, and they're no longer what actually makes somebody human. Like the human qualities that we hold so dear, they don't necessarily adhere to those qualities anymore. So somebody cries that out, oh, the humanity, right? It's like a breach of humanity, a breach of what allows us to connect and hold us all together. So I'm kind of writing on that, because a lot of people like brag and they like say like, I'm not a human, you know what I mean? Like I'm inhuman, and it's like almost being what human isn't, like makes you above humanity. It's like I'm above humanity, I'm deity, you know, I'm alien, I'm foreign. like the rest of you scrubs are like dishwasher fluid that's already, you know, been through the wash and has all this shit in it. And I'm like fluid that just, you know, got evaporated from like some glacial, like, I don't know, a glacier. That's the fluid that I am. That's how pure I am. I'm just so much better, you know what I mean? But yeah, so that's what this writing's on. And at the end of this video, I actually have a recording of me reading that writing. And I hope you're able to hear it, because I was like trying to find a place in this facility where I could go and like record myself reading this. But they lock down like all the rooms that are like, you know, nobody's using. And I went to the front desk and I was like, hey, can I use one of these rooms to just go in there and film myself, like talk, so I can have like a quiet environment? But the chick at the front desk, I wasn't able to coerce her. Like I guess I wasn't like suave enough, you know what I mean, to be able to convince her to like see things my way. She held her ground, folks. Plausible, but maybe she should have been a little more human with me, you know what I mean, and thrown the rules to the wayside for just a moment so that I could go and articulate myself for your viewing and hearing pleasure. But yeah, I'm just writing. What, how far am I? I got like into the first paragraph done. I think this writing is like it's like 2 pages long, but I don't end up recording the whole like writing process. I like get into it far enough and then I decide I don't want to sit here and like watch myself like writing this whole thing out, because this is taking a while, you know what I mean? So I decide to actually stop the recording as I get like, I don't know, a paragraph and a half in or something like that. So we're coming up pretty close here, folks, to the end of the video, where I'm gonna read what is written on these pages to you. And you are so special, because without you, you know, there's no me. So, you know, just be a little more patient. We're almost there. And if you've made it this far, I applaud you. I truly applaud you, because I don't know, maybe this could be like some like relaxation type video where you're just like watching. It's like doesn't take that much mental prowess to be able to experience it, you know. Just kind of soothing, relaxing, almost like a white noise type video. Like if a vlog could be white noise, that's what this would be. Just sitting here, just listening to me ramble, you know. Some things relatable, maybe some things not. Maybe every once in a while we go off on a little adventure off the rails, but we eventually find ourselves back on the rails and make sure to cover what it was that we got lost in. So yeah, maybe an enjoyable video. I don't know. I'm trying to switch things up. I switch it up, you know. My channel has quite the variety. Who knows? Maybe one person in the world will watch this, like fully through. There might be a lot of views on it. I think it'll probably get like, I don't know, like 40, 50 views. That's like the average that these videos of me at the gym have been getting. I don't know, maybe one of those people will sit through the whole 60 minutes. I wonder what that person's like. I wonder what that person who sat through this entire video is like. You know, it's like, what was attractive about this video? What attracted you to watch this video? Like, what held you to this video? What made it so that you were able to sit through the entirety of it all? Was it like soothing? Was it intriguing? Was it actually entertaining? Or was it like white noise, where it's like just a thing that you just put on in the background, you know? I don't know, because I don't get no feedback from this shit. No one says shit, except for I got one guy that said first, like 10 videos ago, and that was it. He commented first and then put, but nobody cares. And then I replied back to him and said, but I care. And then he didn't reply back at all, and that was it. That was the end of it. That was like the last actual comment that I had from a viewer. So make sure to comment, guys, and especially if you've made it this far. Like, I want to get to know the people that are really like invested in my life, you know what I mean? And by watching this up to this point, definitely you're showing your investment. So don't forget to stop by and say hello, you know what I mean? Trying to actually have a community going on here where it's like, you know, I can like react and act upon the system, where, you know, I get feedback and that like spurs my incentives, and my incentives spur your feedback type loop. But it's difficult when it's almost like I'm just like out in the desert just like yelling, and it's like I'm not getting like even getting an echo back, you know. No reaction. But whatever. Obviously people are still watching my videos because I'm getting views, and like my analytics aren't like terrible. So, and like I said before, it's not all about that, you know what I mean? I did a meme just the other day where like some guy was injecting himself, and in the place of heroin I put like a like picture inside of it, like he was like addicted to the likes. But like I said, you know, doing this on video and on camera and stuff like that motivates me to do things better, and to actually really focus on what I'm doing, and to try and actually do like new and like entertaining things. And it actually just builds up my own repertoire of accomplishments and holds me accountable for the things that I'm doing. And you know, I want to have good products, so you know, being on camera doesn't hurt that. And here we go. Here's the writing, first page, second page, and now I'm going to read it to you all. Thank you all for watching. Until next time, later. Oh, the humanity, as if we have strayed from the ideal. Yet those that are human do their best to separate themselves from it. Like being human is some sort of curse, and to ascend above it makes you better than it. But it is inescapable, for it's what you are. And as soon as you have defined yourself outside of it, through significant change, that's what humanity now is. Or is it? Why is humanity represented as a duality? Both the furthest thing from perfection, yet perfection manifest. For in perfection, are we then even able to see? Almost like the perfect plan had planned imperfections to give ourselves sight. For in perfection, are we not devoid of self? And without self, what are we? Humanity then a living and growing thing unto itself, as those that are inhuman stretch what it means to be, causing it to question what it itself is, allowing it to be by seeing something else, allowing introspection, retrospection, the nuance of existence. The model of a maker, for are we ourselves not? Vitruvius shows us that the pinnacle of what's possible is man manifest, yet we deny it. For if we are the top, then where do we have to go? To err is to be human, but to be human is to be perfect.